how I can really best serve you is just I want to leave you with 4 things to help you really cultivate and practice self-care. Hello, beautiful shining souls. My name is Jostine, Intuitive Life Guide from the Philippines. Welcome back to my channel. So before we proceed with today's episode, I just want to say thank you once again for my regular viewers for your understanding. I announced at the start of this season that we are supposed to have the 1 week mid-season break this week. But I hope you saw my community post last week. I felt pulled to have it a week earlier because I felt pulled to go into hermit mode and focus on my contemplations. And it's been an amazing week of contemplation. Lots of synchronicities, messages from God, from the universe, receiving them, and I'm just I have several moments of I'm totally mind blown. I'm just grateful. Anyway, I want to thank you for being so patient and understanding, especially if you've been part of my community. For those who have been a part of my community for a long time, they know that sometimes I do go through these times of I'll suddenly disappear because I needed to really go through those phases of going inwards to focus on myself. And I usually am very mindful of letting the people that I need to really communicate with, just to give them a heads up of what's happening. Like for this one in my YouTube community, I had that post from last week, but I didn't really do that on my Facebook page, so I just suddenly disappeared on there. Anyway, let's proceed with today's episode. So for life tip, it's connected with the theme of prioritizing honoring our needs, and it's about practicing self-care. So today's life tip is practice self-care. I'm a very huge advocate of this, and not just an advocate but a practitioner, as I've shared in the introduction. There was a time before when I would feel guilty for attending to my needs, for canceling on plans so I can take care of my mental health. If I felt like I need to really have those alone time. And I'm saying this as an introvert, for those who are not familiar with the really huge difference between introverts and extroverts. It's really about energy, right? For introverts, having those alone times is really beneficial because that's how we recharge. And for extroverts, they get more energy from interacting with other people. So I'm saying that as an introvert, and also as someone who has been doing a lot of internal work, doing the inner work. So reflecting, contemplation, it's part of how I can best serve the community, because that's how I connect within and connect with God and really receive the messages that He wants me to share for the community. And so there was a time before when I used to feel guilty. And this is not to say that we don't respect other people's time, because that is not self-care. I believe that self-care is balancing, honoring your needs in a way that doesn't disrespect other people's boundaries as well. So there are a lot of articles, videos, content around how we can practice self-care. And for me, how I can really best serve you is just I want to leave you with 4 things to keep in mind to help you really cultivate and practice self-care. There are 4 things that I implement on my own practice, and to help you remember it, we will use the word care. But we will do this in the reverse order. Alright, so we'll start with letter E. Okay, so E is for essential. We are doing a lot of things. There are a lot of things vying for our attention. We are wearing different hats. We have different roles and responsibilities. And we have a very limited time, energy, and resources. At least in this human form, in this physical reality. So it is really important for us to identify what are the essential things, the non-negotiable practices that if we can only do those things, we'll be good. Like we will be nourished, we will be centered, we will be grounded, we will be aligned. And I would suggest, like, don't go beyond 3. I actually just have one non-negotiable practice, one essential practice. And for me, that is making time for stillness and silence. You know, meditating, praying, showing up in my Reiki practice. That's a non-negotiable every single day, even if it's just for a minute of sitting in stillness and silence. Like that will help me really connect with God, connect with myself, feeling centered, feeling grounded, you know. And usually, you know, ideally do this first thing in the morning, but in the occasions that I have to really rush through my morning because I don't know, maybe I woke up late or I have to attend to other people's schedules. If I cannot do it in the morning, sometime in the day, middle of the day or before I end the day, I do it, right? Because that is my essential practice. And you don't want to make this list long because you don't want to overwhelm yourself, right? So the idea here is that even if you have no time, right? Like you're super busy, your days are super packed, there's just one thing that you can do. One thing. What is it? Alright, so that is for the essential. R is for rejection. So if you have an essential practice, you now have to also identify what is the one thing or what are the things that you absolutely absolutely will not do to protect your peace, to protect yourself, to protect your energy, the boundaries, your boundaries. What are these things? And for this one, think about really like what are your non-negotiables in terms of what you are not allowing in your space. So for me, for example, if something doesn't feel aligned energetically, even if it seems like a good opportunity, even if other people are telling me that this is a good opportunity, even if my mind is telling me that this is a good opportunity, if energetically I don't feel aligned, if there's some constriction in my body, if I'm feeling like I'm feeling drained, if I'm feeling like my, as a sacral generator, really tuning into my sacral yes and no, like what is my gut feel, what is my intuition telling me. If it is a clear no, then it is a no, right? It is a no because something within me energetically doesn't feel aligned, and I will not compromise that. So how about you? What is your non-negotiable when it comes to establishing your boundaries, right? To protect your peace, to protect your energy, to protect your peace of mind. So that is R for rejection. And then we go to letter A, which is allowance. We are not the only people in this world. Yes, you have your boundaries. Other people also have their boundaries. And in order to coexist peacefully with other people, we need to make allowances, right? I'm tuning into the word compromise. Compromise. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I'm just checking in because there was a time before like compromise feels like, ugh, compromise. Feels like I'm compromising my integrity. But no, this is about finding a middle ground with others, right? Finding a middle ground with others. Let's make it concrete. For example, I'm coaching clients, right? And my system in terms of scheduling my clients is that, I give them my available dates and time, and then they will choose the best date and time for them. However, I also know other people have their own agenda. Other people have their own thing, right? And what if the times that I have presented to them, they are really, really, really not available, and they really, really, really cannot make time for it, right? There's no wiggle room in their schedule. So for those times, I am making an allowance, right? So let me know if these dates and times don't work for you. Give me your top 3 preferred dates and times, and then I'll see what I can do to shift my schedule. In terms of your self-care, what would it be? Right? Because it's also difficult for, if we're going to push our own agenda, if we're going to push just what will be good for us without considering what would be good for other people, right? So there really needs to be moments, times when we make allowances so that we can also honor other people's needs. And I would add to this, for making an allowance, be very clear. Be very clear what are the terms and conditions of these allowances. Like, for example, let's go back to my previous example about scheduling, right? So we have communicated. Part of my terms and conditions is you have to give me at least 3 business days. Because on my end, I need to prepare myself, in showing up, in holding space for others. I also need to prepare myself. I need to be grounded, I need to be centered, I need to be aligned. And I also need to be really, I want to make sure that my attention and focus and energy will be for the other person. And that takes time. At least for me, I need to really prepare myself. And so that is what I ask. So also think about what are the terms and conditions when you're making allowances. Right? And lastly, we have letter C, contingency. So for contingencies, the idea here is that there will really be times when you will fall, when you will miss out, when you will fail, take 2 steps back, right? Or not show up for yourself, right? And that's okay. That is part of the process. For those times, what are your contingency plans? Right? So you're making room, you're making space for future failures. You're giving yourself exemptions, right? These are the loopholes, so to speak. And for me, this is really important because it is a form of self-compassion. We're not here to be perfect. And it is letting yourself know that when you fail, not if, but when you fail to show up for your practice, will be okay. We're not going to punish ourselves. We are already making space for those times that we will fail. And this is not about being lenient with ourselves. We are prone to falling back into old habits, especially when you're just starting out. And for myself, I also, like, there are times when I just want to not think about being, proper in my practice. Sometimes I just want to do nothing, right? Those times are also important. Allowing yourself to process, to integrate, and to adjust, to recalibrate. That is the gift, right? Those periods of rest, that is a form of rest. For myself, for example, like as a woman, for my fellow women, I'm sure you can relate. When we have our monthly period, right? Oh boy, I just want to be lazy all day, you know? And those days, like, I am giving myself permission. Like, if I don't feel like working, I will not work. If I feel like eating junk food, I will eat junk food. If I feel like just sleeping all day, I will sleep all day. If I need to cancel plans those days, I will. Because that is what my body needs. And so, how about you? What are your contingency plans? As early as now, write them down. Because again, there will come a time when you will need it. This is to give yourself that safety, that sense of safety and security. It's like telling yourself that, you know what, even if we fail or even if you mess up, it's okay. You are safe. We're okay. We got this. We can move forward, right? Okay, so again, these are the things that I feel is really important for you to keep in mind in establishing your self-care practice. All right? So, care. Remember care. C is for contingency. A is for allowance. R is for rejection. E is for essential. Life tip for today: practice self-care. Alright, so I hope that this has been helpful. Let me know if you have any questions about this, if you need further clarification. Thank you so much for being with me today. Until the next episode, peace, love, and light. The world is waiting. for your magic.